Show me what you got. Back that up, 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 ba Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Down, up, back, up, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, up, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, up, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, God. Ain't no reason to back down, so step it up. God, down, up, back, up, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, up, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back.
Hello, good evening, and welcome, folks. It is the VCT Game Changers APAC Series Open number 2. We are in the month of, April now? I have to take a second to... Yeah, it's April. There we go. And we hear casters. Hey, I'm Quack, and this is, of course, the lovely, lovely, occasional Killjoy cosplayer, Donut.
Occasional, but every day I do wear my glasses, so I guess it's going to be that
IRL
way.
Killjoy.
Yeah. IRL, but without the tech. I'm not that techie, guys. So
Okay.
I'm glad to be back here in Game Changers APAC series. And today is going to be an exciting day because it is the start of the playoffs. Today will be defining where they will be placed. And I think I've been seeing some tweets here and there, Quack, that it's going to be a nail biter session for all of the series we'll be seeing today.
I'm like, even without looking at tweets, just checking out those brackets. Oh my God, I cannot believe the games that we are about to have because this is so intense. Even the group stages alone. I mean, coming down once all the other teams have been kind of starting to get knocked out. It's so crazy. I mean, your own team, unfortunately, was knocked out as well.
Yeah.
The scene is growing, honestly.
Yeah, and because it's been expanded to APAC, the roadmap has been expanded as well. So we're looking at VCT Game Changers APAC Open. So we will be having a total of 4 opens throughout the whole. But right now we're into open number 2. As you mentioned, that went by so fast, and in a couple of months it will be open 3. And as well as stage 2 will be here for open overtime. So for those teams who did not qualify or even got their circuit points, they can still get into the Game Changers APAC Elite. Before the final event would be VCT Game Changers APAC Last Chance qualifiers on August. So there's a lot at stake for these ladies and these teams.
Yeah, it's always all about qualifying for that elite spot because that's where the real big prize is. But of course, we have our own little prizes for the Opens as well. A little bit of an incentive for these teams to continue to grow and really get better. And of course, if they win as well, pretty nice. You got 1.5K USD, second place, so on and so forth. It's still a very good chance for all of these girls, all of these players to continue to improve. I mean, form new teams if you need to. Some roster shuffles here and there for sure, but the main thing is that the scene is never ever it's never not growing, and I think that's something that's awesome. I mean, just taking a look at the leaderboards as well. This might be what it looks like for now, and I think we can go through some of the numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's definitely going to change. I'm kind of hoping for Alter Ego Celeste to get knocked off that top spot, but we shall see. I mean, these girls are just unstoppable. But of course, following that X10 Crit esports female, they had a crazy grand finals last month. Actually took it all 5 maps, but unfortunately, I think they just ran out of steam. They played way too long. They weren't really able to rest. So it's maybe they build up endurance a bit. But of course, now Brand Esports Victress coming into the scene as well. That's pretty huge, right, don't it?
Yeah, pretty huge, a huge acquisition for Brand Esports for this specific team. Although they were able to acquire 4 from another organization, still they seem so solid because they did qualify for the playoffs as well. One thing that I noticed here in the standing, Quack, is that um top 5 is currently here in the playoffs, but there are 3 who have qualified. They are our wild card for open number 2, and those are the likes of the team of Kachao and
Mm-hmm.
Japeeps, named as Orangutan.
Yeah, it's kind of maybe wild cards, but I kind of don't want to call them that too. I mean, we
Yeah.
haven't really seen them in this open, this roster. Maybe they haven't really found a team in the previous month, but now they do, and they're definitely no stranger to VCT Game Changers APAC. They were here last year. They used to play under the Couldn't Care Less banner, maybe Asteria as well, and then I don't know, Kachat and Japips used to be under Hashira here and there. There's
Mhm.
so much going on. There are so many
Yeah.
teams now. I mean, just take a look at the screen. I don't even want to count. I can't
Yeah,
count.
don't count. But that's the thing. If we can't count it, it means that it's growing, and I'm so happy to be seeing all of these
Right?
teams join. Right? I mean, it used to be just top 5 teams here and there, always going to be gunning for the playoffs. But since there are changes, we're seeing a little bit of versatility here in the scene. But for open number 2, these are the teams that we will be seeing. A staple here in FSL VCT Game Changers would be Alter Ego Celeste, X10 Crit, Bren Esports, which was formerly known to be TC Arise,
Hmm.
ZOL Meraki, used to have the banner of Shomai and Friends, Team SMG, Aresta, Gamdeng, and then also Orangutan. So these are the
Orangutan.
players that we will be seeing.
It's gonna be. Honestly, I'm kind of scared. You used to be able to like kind of predict who's gonna come out at the top or how these like you could do pick'ems on like VLR or something, and you can kind of predict. All right, this is how the brackets will go. This time, I have no idea anymore. The Capital Rise beating SMG in the previous month's Open. That's crazy. Coming into this month, maybe they're not playing this first, upper bracket quarterfinals. Not yet, but eventually, right? I mean, there even is a chance of Zol Meraki taking SMG down. That's what we're here to find out. So, of course, this is what the bracket looks like. Upper bracket quarterfinals. The first game that we have on our hands today will be Zol Meraki versus Team SMG. Following that, Orangutan versus Alter Ego Celeste. How those games are gonna go, man, Donut, I'm gonna have to ask you because I'm kind of scared, honestly.
When you mentioned that there will be no really certainty in terms of the predictions, I guess that's going to be the case right
Right?
now, Quack, because I mean it's star-studded, as we would see, and we're seeing celebrities go against celebrities in the scene. So in terms of really coming out on top, we're seeing the likes of AE Celeste always going to be the winners. of the scene, but they seem to be looking like
A little bit different, right?
screws and some bolts are loosened, and they need to be fastened, and they need to wake up because a lot of the teams now are really prepping. They have their eyes on AE Celeste. They have to take them down. So AE Celeste, it's either they pull out their comforter and maybe sleep this through, but I guess it's going to be even more competitive as we go through each of the opens.
Crazy competitive. I mean, I remember last year when they would still, maybe they can have a little bit of fun. They'll like kind of, I don't want to say throw, but they'll mess around a little bit. They'll have their fun, do some crazy, hyper aggressive strat on split or something. Just like, I don't even want to buy a Vandal. I'll just buy a Judge and I'll run around. That's what they did, but they can't really do that anymore because now all of these teams have grown. It's going to be pretty intense. And of course, the very first one that we have on our hands today, let's take a look at them. ZOL Meraki. You mentioned that they came from this Siomai and France banner.
Yeah, they used to be Shama and Friends for open number 1, and some players actually they used to have Kachao in this lineup, but they are still looking pretty solid with Capricious in the picture. Ooh. Capricious used to be part of TC Rise, if I'm correct.
Yes, she did.
As well.
She did.
And then together with Miha, Miha is actually quite new to the industry of Valorant because she was a pro in another title. She came from CSGO together with Japeeps and Kachao. So we're seeing a little bit of mix-up in terms of the skills. So I'm quite excited to really see what Meraki has in store against their opponents.
I mean, this is definitely going to be interesting. I still remember Capricious from her time in TCA last year when they played against one of the Thai teams. I believe it was Arcade Aresta. But that's the thing that it's going to be interesting because taking a look at the Team SMG roster, this roster also had some shuffles, some new pickups here and there. Of course, Team SMG picking up the female team for the first time this year. These girls used to be known as Renatus White. Now they've got some new teammates as well from different countries, mainly Thailand, with Yoki and Fixki. And that's the one that I'm kind of focused on because Yoki, she was in Arcade Aresta. She did play against TCA last year, and they lost in a best of 5, if I'm not wrong. No, it was a best of 3. They lost on like the last map, Fracture.
3, and it was a map of Fracture.
Exactly.
And that's going to be interesting
because
we will be seeing the map selection in a bit. We don't want to really preempt anything. Actually, here it is. It's funny because we're going again in the map of Fracture, where some of the team members of SMG lost to the team of TCA, which is was just actually Capricious. So maybe it's going to be another head-to-head against Capricious and Fixki.
I'm putting, let's just throw it down, right?
Just a 2.
That's what it's going to be about. These 2 girls, and it's going to be pretty intense, honestly. Fracture, there's so much history between these 2 teams on this map. I think it's going to be a little bit different because they've probably kind of prepared and studied up for this very match. There's a reason why the map picks went this way. SMG picking Fracture, they must have some kind of plan. Teams tend to want to avoid Fracture because it's still relatively new, but SMG, along with their coach, Fal, I think they definitely have some kind of strategy or some kind of execute planned. What do you think?
I guess they do. They will select this map for a reason. Maybe they really want to go for those team play executions. Without it, Fracture is just really a map that's hard to really either defend or create attack. Another thing to note is the selection of Breeze for the team of ZOL Meraki is another surprise. We would usually see a bind pick or like an ascent pick, but they wanted to go for Breeze first.
It's kind of I don't know if it's like just throwing a random die and hopefully it lands on something that's favorable, but it's one of those maps where it's still fairly open. You kind of do want to have plans prepared just going into it, maybe some executions, but there's a chance because Team SMG, at least according to our stats, so far for this year, it's not like they haven't played Priest before, come on. But currently, throughout VCT Game Changers APAC 2022, they don't really have any stats on that yet. So perhaps that's a chance for ZOL Meraki to possibly take them down.
Yeah, and I think in the map of Breeze, though, I think most of the time the team of Capricious and then as well as Miha, they play so well in this map. Miha is the initiator for the team, and Capricious has always been that fragger. For these types of open maps, Fracture or Breeze, that's going to be important. Aim is going to be something that's needed
I know.
for them to execute.
All of these maps, I mean, not just like Breeze. Breeze a little bit more, maybe just because it's open. But for Fracture,
Yeah.
where you got the map split down into 4 sections, a lot of like tiny, narrow areas or corridors just for duels, and that is where, I mean, you're gonna see a bloodbath. Honestly, we talked about like Capricious so much. She's the core duelist for a team. Yeah, another duelist that we have to talk about for sure has to be Kohibi on Team SMG. Come on.
Agree.
I mean, her signature agents, all duelists. You want to maybe shed some light on that, Donut?
I mean, I have reference to the previous game changers from 2021. Every
Right?
time she's in a server, she drops a 40, 30 bomb as a Jet or as a Reina. And I think for the rest of the team members, they've always been criticized to really follow her footsteps. But we're seeing now there's a little bit of an evenness in terms of the scoreline, together with Kfredite, as we call her, Clutch
That's true.
Fredite, really giving in those impact frags for the team. And Kuhaibi is a type of duelist that you would really fear if she was in a server, but could also be shut down when it comes to these high level plays that ZOL can put into the picture.
Absolutely. If you can shut Kohibi down, that is where, you know, the head of the dragon's cut off. Now, all you got to deal with is the rest of the body. It's not too it's a weird analogy, I know, but it's something
But
that
what if
can
it's
work.
a three-headed dragon?
That's the thing. That's the question, right? Are the rest of the Team SMG players now dragons, heads of dragons themselves? I don't really know yet. At least from the first month, we don't really see that showing up. I mean, they did place like, what was it, 4th or 5th? No, 5th or 6th in the open because they got knocked out by the Capital Rise. I don't know, they're going to have to pull up their socks a little bit. We're going to have to see how that plays out, but here we go. Fracture, ZOL versus Team SMG. SMG will be attacking because this is their map pick after all. So take it away, Donut.
Bomb buddy out.
Oh no. Yeah, there was quite a bit of utility spent, the 0-point knife as well. It's so much information, but now they've confirmed that SMG are still trying to push out Kohibi. Instantly swinging wide, getting the first headshot, but here it comes. Aftershocks, utility, Zolvaraki. They are choking him out by this 1 point. It's all up to Kfredite now as she spends a couple more rounds from her headhunter. There's not much that she can do unless they peek out. So this is very, very dangerous for her. She continues to swing here and there, checking out, finding some peeks. She takes down Exekis, and that leaves us in a 1v2. Ooh!
Here. Here.
IT for that round, but the pistol has been lost by SMG.
Yeah, the crossfire setup was really a really nice adjustment that ZOL went for. But more interestingly enough, having won that pistol round, Nikolji with her aim, like you mentioned, she's bought up a Guardian. Is it even necessary though? Because SMG are just trying to rush out of A main, rushing out of the doors. They keep getting fragged out. It's Piety now with the Spectre and then Capricious to finish it off. It's 2-0.
It's just go high B with that one kill, but what is that one kill if the Guardian and the rest of the Spectres are still alive for the team of ZOL Meraki? In terms of the defaults, it's been shut down because it's just a pistol round, but for the rest of the team members of SMG, this is their time now to strike back. If they lose yet again another round, then their economy is just going to be in shambles. Piety is going to be just buying this pistol. She sold the sheriff but bought yet again. And if they keep this economy alive for the team of ZOL, then SMG, they're in it for it.
It's definitely going to be one hell of a fight. Still, SMG trying to force these angles, force these positions. It costs quite a bit as K490 gets taken out. Now it's all up to Kohibi up by this dish position, though. It's 1v2, and she still lands the headshots! Are you kidding me? Along with Envious now, this is purely control over the A site. It's going to be a tough retake for ZOL Meraki.
A very tough one, and they can't really call for a save. It's going to be Exekeys and Nicole G, the ones to remain for this round. And Yoki takes down Exekeys. It's just going to be Nicole G and the Guardian. Maybe the G stands for Guardian, but she's going to wait this out. Probably save the gun. Wait for those who want to push out. Yoki uses the fault line, but doesn't really catch Nicole G. She's pushing out the smoke, but Envious is going to catch her. Now, first round for SMG.
Definitely a little bit of a Hail Mary push out of the smoke in that last few seconds. Very unfortunate, but that is the strength. That is that star power from Team SMG. Just when you thought that it kind of seems a little bit hopeless towards the start of the round, right? They lost K490 really early on. You still got players like Kohibi who can just single-handedly take down two players, take control over Dish and Drop. Envious finding an entry from A main as well. It's just so much to deal with that ZOL Meraki, I think they're going to need to use a little bit more utility, a little bit more setups just to stall and prevent SMG from gaining such quick control. Now that they have the full guns and a technical boss as well, I think they'll be able to use that to their advantage.
Yeah, definitely. And I liked what you said about using the utilities, because after 2 rounds, SMG just figured out, okay, where is that point of entry, and they figured out it's gonna be through Dish and through Drop, and it was such a fast execute there by Kohibi, right? Even though there were two people there trying to guard it, without the utility, as you mentioned, there are 4 sections. If it's just 2 heads, but the heads are taken down by Kohibi, of course, what else do you have to run to? It's going to be the utilities of the chamber, which wasn't necessarily exhausted and invested towards that part, because of course, okay, we'll just send out 2 people, and we were left with Nicole G in a clutch situation, which was definitely not that winnable, given the positions of SMG.
Positions, the numbers as well that she had to deal with. It's really tough. The fact that there was a sky smoke right in front of her, and those things last forever compared to the other controllers, at least. But yeah, that's something that ZOL Meraki, it's really tough to work against, and I think it's worth just kind of taking a look at the Asia compositions right now, because there is a slight difference, right? ZOL Meraki have opted for the double initiator, whereas SMG has the double duelist setup. So I think that's kind of why SMG are going for that really aggressive, just really fast pushes. If they can find the duels, if they can take the space, they pretty much have won the round. Whereas ZOL Meraki, double initiator, I mean, what do you think they can do with that?
Well, they can opt to just really create some space for them early on towards the round, or just opt for the retake instead, because that dart from Piety is going to give them a lot of use for it. But Capricious, with this aggression, gets 1. She spots out 2 more, but 1's enough for her. Going to be Piety here waiting for that door to open, but she just backs away. SMG, they're slowing down yet again, possibly taking another rehit.
Is really similar to that first round that we just saw. Suddenly deciding to go for a full push down A halls, as opposed to earlier on when they went for the A split. Now that they're met with so much resistance, the pacing has slowed down. It's going to be very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the danger here, Kohibi, just really looking for these positions, trying to take down at least 1, maybe do a little bit of damage, but Piety That dart is gonna
Uh-oh.
at least figure out there's 2 there. But there's actually 4. And they're praying for the push with that flash.
Capricious.
Blind. And even Yuki through the smoke gets a kill. Miha gets a 3rd.
Oh!
Ivy answers back, and Piety does get the win for ZOL Meraki.
My goodness. First of all, the random shot through that cloudburst somehow still hitting Capricious in the head. But the fact is that even though she died, she bought just enough time for her teammates, Piety, Miha, to rotate over, to get into position, to shoot them as soon as they try to push out of that A main position that they all knew they were in. Piety, with the 1-0 point at that very crucial point in time, gave them all the information that they needed. I mean, they were still kind of doubting if they were really pushing A for a bit, kind of rotating through the defender spawn a little bit slowly. But once they got that, they knew where they were. They just rushed back in to stop them right as they tried to push out. ZOL Meraki taking it 3-1. This is not looking too good for Team SMG, if I'm being honest.
Not too good, and given that Miha is just there to defend the teammate who was blinded, right? I mean, yeah, after the blind towards Capricious, then Miha peeks out, gets 3 kills, and no matter what happens, even though Capricious didn't get the frag, it was really the impact of the teammate, specifically Miha, when it comes to these situations, these dire situations that she responds to. And in terms of this, another thing, Miha is gonna, whoops, together with the Capricious, sees Aphrodite, but Aphrodite just backs away. Envious has dashed in towards the side. That was all a ruse, all a distraction. They've taken A control, Quack.
Yeah, so much space just given up, and I think it's because ZOL Meraki, they just want to play retakes this round. They know they have the firepower, they have the better guns. All they really got to do is to lure them into this site, but oh no, peeking out. They did not expect Envious to be so close, and here comes a showstopper as well, the 3rd kill in the round. 2 players are all that remains, and as they come back into retake, SMG have scoured the site. They have picked up a couple of weapons, and it's just a matter of time before the frags go through. Even though stunned, she finds a double. Envious comes back from the other side, but she does not expect Capricious to be right behind her. ZOL Meraki, this is 4-1 now.
Was that important?
They were too close, and even Kohibi pushing up together with Envious wasn't really enough. In these situations, Miha will always convert to kills that would impact the round, and that was an A plant, but the rest of the members of SMG were at CT. It's easy to defend the spike that way, but you lose control of the sites of where they are, and they never really knew that Capricious was there already trying to fake out the spike defuse. And that's going to be the case. In terms of the awareness, I guess ZOL Meraki has 1 point up against SMG.
Just 1 point. SMG still could do something, but no! Flashed, 0 point. They keep trying to force this one A-Hall's position. It's not working. SMG, go somewhere else, please! You're walking right into Capricious's blades! There's the 2nd headshot now. Pretty soon a 3rd, maybe even a 4th, maybe even a 5th if they continue to walk down this hallway. Well, slowly backing off now, thankfully.
Yeah, Capricious, she has the Blade Storm. It's still online, and the rest of the members of SMG, they're looking for another place to go. It's gonna be Keys and Nicole G, the chamber. Maybe once the trap is set out, then there's gonna be a smoke that comes in. Instead, that's gonna be a peek. A jiggle by Keys, and perfect time for that smoke. Just covers the entrance for SMG, so they go ahead, find another place that they can go to. But their presence is detected. Nice. 0 point there by Piety. Okay, Aphrodite, she's trying to be sneaky about this, but Cold G, chamber versus chamber. It's Aphrodite to be ready for that peak.
There they go. They're not giving up. Rolling Thunder committed to the site as well. They want to extend the timer to about 40 seconds with the spike plant. But ZOL Meraki are all too aware of this, just setting up for the retakes. All 4 players coming in from the side of benches as well as the spawn itself. They still have Capricious up with the knives and a full belt of utility that she can dash, she can updraft. There's so much that she could do to throw them off, but where are the SMG players? Hiding inside the smokes, it seems, as they continue to push up front. Up inside a tower, up inside of the other side of the site itself, and they still can't quite find the final player. Fixkey, all the way inside a tower, finally spotted, tries to peek and push up, but Miha is way too slippery. It's 5-1 now, Donut.
You say it's getting tricky for SMG, and I'm gonna agree with you this time. 4 rounds in terms of the lead. And SMG, the first round that they got was that buy against a bonus of ZOL. After that, they haven't really gotten anything else just yet. In terms of the use of the utility, I like how responsive ZOL Meraki is. Every time there is a jiggle, okay, at least Exeki spots out one, uses the sky smoke, and I mean, I guess out of all of the smokes, the sky smoke is really hard to push out to because it just doesn't block the vision. It's too thick. If you go out of that, it's gonna be hard in terms of the vision.
It takes like a second before your vision's clear again, right? And that's the thing. So you don't really want to push through sky smokes. And the timing of all the utility from ZOL Meraki as SMG tried to rotate towards the B site really stopped them in their tracks. It's so annoying when that happens. But it's really unfortunate for them as well, and I think that is why the tactical timeout has been called. Hopefully, they've been able to regroup and kind of reset, recalibrate their strategies. I hope to see more from them for this round, because 5-1, having lost, what is that, like 2 rounds in a row now? It's not looking good.
Yeah, I think it's 3 rounds. Because after the first point, 3, 4, 5 went to ZOL. Yeah.
There you go.
You want to go back.
Say halls again. They do have K4daddy up towards Dish, though, and that is where it gets a little bit dicey still towards halls, because, again, the fact that ZOL Meraki have presence towards the door, not just towards the door, A main being pushed out by Capricious as well. There's so much to consider that SMG keeps getting choked by this one choke point itself. Look at all the frags. It's Capricious. He's got a triple now, and all that remains, K4daddy towards drop.
Yeah, that was the mistake of the team of SMG. They beat Capricious like that without any use of a blind, or maybe the use of paint shells from Kohaibi to try and push her back, right? And Capricious, when it comes to the aim, she was aiming right towards the left, and the flick towards the right is always going to be smooth from her. And that's the reason why she has so much confidence peeking out there towards A-halls. And it needs to be stopped. Even though there are some stuns there by Yoki, she just really waits it out and then moves up. Okay, Aphrodite here with a tour de force. Doesn't get to use it anymore. Nikolji shuts them down. Now 6-1. Fuck.
Not even at all. Oh my gosh, Donut. What is happening? Every time they try to walk in towards A-halls, please try a different strategy. Go somewhere else. Maybe try to bait a rotation or something. I don't know. But it's just not working out. It seems like they're going back in towards this position again with K4daddy going in towards possibly Dish. They've got the full buy, so I have a little bit of hope. But it all comes down to this one push into A main. ZOL Meraki again spending a bit of utility, playing around in positions as well. Capricious able to sneak through. The paint shells doesn't quite catch her, but thankfully Kohaibi and Envious now finding the duels. They have gotten control just because they managed to use their paint shells to create a little bit more space this time.
Yeah, 1-4-3. That's not enough. Exekis though takes down Aphrodite. She's gonna be ready for Envious, just waiting in this angle. Apparently it's gonna be Nikolji to check out Envious and Vixty here. He's just waiting. Uses the orbital strike at least to clear out that spike area. Nobody's there. Kohaibi is behind the smoke and she's gonna wait it out. She still has 2 blast packs available. She can use that. With the sky smoke though, it's gonna really not give them any information whether or not they're really defusing or
they're not checking.
Kohaibi is not checked from behind. She takes down 2 and a total of 3 for that round. SMG, they strike back yet again after that. win streak from ZOL Meraki.
My goodness. That's a little bit unfortunate, but they made the assumption. They assumed that there was no player around drop. She was kind of spinning around as she defused. So I guess maybe she hoped that she would kind of find someone somewhere. But again, the one player that made all that presence, all that noise towards A main, I guess Vixky, that's the thing that kind of distracted them. So the strat worked out this time. Let's see if it works out again. Got the boom bot going out to clear out some information, create a little bit of space, but they're backing off, Donut.
That was just a fake. Aphrodite is already here by Arcade, and that space is already taken away from them. I think it's a split though. One thing that's just separating them is that Sky Smoke, and Exekis might be ready for another retake yet again. Piety has still that 0 point, which they can use. Actually, it's still being refreshed at the moment, so Capricious just slowing down in terms of the peaks to take and gain control of the site yet again. But when it comes to these positions, SMG, they look like they're primed for this post plant. They're not backing away. They're rushing in towards the site, and Envious takes down one, but Capricious there with the trade. Piety takes down Kohai.
Exekis!
One is behind yet again. Capricious
What?
with the operator kill, and they just take it away from SMG. Piety just stuck to it.
How do you let that happen? Oh my god, the Sky Smokes.
It's the Sky Smokes.
They're too strong.
Told you.
You place down two of them at the right spot. Don't have to spend too many too early at the round. Just, you know, save it and then go in with the retakes. I'm not sure, but SMG must have not heard the sound of the defuse going through. They managed to stick it all the way.
Out of charges.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't even hear it also. So what more? What more the team of SMG, right? Maybe it was timed with an operator shot from Capricious, and they weren't able to hear anything else. They were baited out by that.
Absolutely unfortunate. Okay, Fernati again off of journeys on her own. She gets shut down. It's now the 4v5. They continue to flush outside of the doors, but so many players are just lying in wait. Look at Exekis right beneath them. She pushes out of the Sky Smoke at the right time, but thankfully Kohaibi is there to follow through. And now we're in the 3v4. Spike, it will be planted. Not sure if ZOL Meraki can take this.
You know, Capricious is just waiting out for that Sky Smoke. They know how valuable it is. There's gonna be a 0 point that's broken down so that they can still use the utility, but Capricious with that fast peek against Envy, and she's out for more. Uses the Blade Storm. Just damage done for Yoki, but she's gonna be out there for the kills together with Kohaibi, and yet again, SMG, they make it work for round number 3 on their scoreboard.
Starting to recover a little bit, not too shabby. It's all so much that you got players hiding underneath of Hell. You've got Kohaibi coming in from the back. Capricious, despite the fast peaks, couldn't really do it all on her own. So unfortunately, that round goes to SMG. 7-3 right now, and that crumples ZOL Meraki's economy. They got nothing but sheriffs. It's going to be a little bit tough for them to defend this time, and I can't wait to see if SMG are just going to go in with a really fast execute.
Capricious, though, doesn't really back down. She's holding the same angle over and over again, and it's another take of that fake from SMG. Just one, basically, one utility, the bot, and also that fault line from the breach.
Does clear some things out, pushes them back at the very least, but here comes Nikolji. You mentioned, you talked about her aim. She's landing the first shot, picks up the Sheriff now, so she's got something more to work with. But again, main thing, Spike has already been planted. SMG, they tend to hold really good, strong positions post-plant, but well, not sure if ZOL Meraki are going to be able to pull out their same Sky Smoke strategy this time. Oh my god, are you kidding me?
He takes down Kohaibi's showstopper. Didn't even get to go boom. But at least G is still winning these duels. But Aphrodite says not anymore. We'll take our round number 4.
Last round in the half.
SMG with a win streak now, taking away 3 rounds actually from ZOL Meraki. And if they win this last round, then it's gonna be a possible good half for SMG.
Possible, right? It's 7-4, 7-5, 8-4 maybe. It's still not too bad. Still recoverable. I mean, it is Fracture after all. There's so much randomness possibly that can go on this map. But Capricious is pulling out the big guns, and if she is able to lock down angles, that is going to be way too tough for SMG to walk through. I mean, she's already topping the kill, the scoreboard. She's got like 16 kills. Even Kohibi doesn't have that yet. But Aphrodite just walking up towards Arcade, finds the first frag. That calls out the rotation. Now they might be pushing into B.
Launching smoke.
Yep, but Exekis catches that lurking Aphrodite. They thought that the site has been opened up for them, but Exekis is the one that's waiting out. And as you mentioned, Capricious, she's already pushed up there, and she's rushing towards the site. Blinds there by Miha. They don't really know that they've taken control of Arcade. Exekis is gonna be ready for that kill. Uses the orbital strike and waits for Envious, but Envious actually...
They still don't know.
Player standing. One enemy remaining.
There with another peek is gonna be Envious to win that. The bang from that operator shot was just too loud. Envious just really, oops, there's somebody behind me, and she's too easy to catch. And as I mentioned, a 7-5 for SMG, very good half after losing a couple of rounds there against ZOL Meraki. Now they're the ones defending. Now they are the ones who hold the angles, just as Meraki did against them.
Well, that's one heck of a first half. Capricious leading the scoreboard 17-7. Kohibi with a 14-9. Honestly, it looks super shaky for SMG at first, but towards the end, they started to try different things. Thankfully, finally, right? Instead of continuing to just walk down A-halls, they tried some different things. You got Aphrodite walking off on her own, trying to find frags towards Arcade. That, I think, really won them that last round.
Definitely agree, although she is shut down sometimes by Nicole G, but she never gives up. She still wants to take space away from the team of ZOL Meraki, although she was able to get that kill and that frag against Nicole G. Exekis is going to be there to try and save the day for them, but they still lost. Because in terms of the push, it was also the timing of Capricious's flank, right? If she was a little bit early and if she hadn't used that operator that was too loud for Envious to really look back to, then probably it was a round won by ZOL Meraki. And I guess now SMG, they're warming up to their opponents. They're slowly looking at where they would usually defend the site. So Nicole G would usually be there by the ropes up top there towards the nest. And I think that was also a fault there by ZOL Meraki. They never really switched up their positions. It's always going to be Capricious to try and take down or get the first blood there by A-halls. Nicole G staying up there in the nest, and Exekis just playing a little bit back.
That's a good point.
So I guess... yeah, so maybe that's the reason why SMG just really, they would usually just play back, so let's take B instead, aggressively.
I think that might have been some kind of a big brain Pavlovian conditioning play from Team SMG, right? Just the first 5 rounds or so. Let's run it down hall. They're going to expect us to do this for the rest of the half. So then we get to have a little bit more options to mess around with them. Let's suddenly throw a curveball. Let's suddenly head towards B. And of course, ZOL Meraki kind of weren't really expecting that. Last round operator was a little bit unfortunate as well for Capricious. Perhaps if she had a Vandal, maybe she would have stood a chance in that 1v2. But there was also a universe where possibly that operator would have lined up into a collateral shot. Who knows? But whatever it is, we move forward into the second half. Now, ZOL Meraki attacking. It's 7-5. Can they take this? They go in for the quick peeks. And Aphrodite gets a lot of information. They see the execute, the B-split coming through, and they quickly adapt. Fixky just around these boxes goes ham with the frenzy. It's a triple kill, single-handedly holding down the site. They cannot get the spike down as it's been dropped. Nicole G, though, the headhunter, comes out from behind, and she's able to find the first one.
Spike retrieved.
IT has a safe space for her to plant the spike, but Nicole G is waiting with that headhunter as well, but that's gonna hurt all of the patients disconnect, but Envious to finish Piety off. That was the first kill against Gohaibi, but that wasn't enough. There were three really going
Was that
and
important?
ganging up on her during that time, and where will she go? She has to just get the frags, and the frags wasn't something that she won. Now SMG inching their way into equally getting that 7-7. And in terms of the defense, they're looking pretty solid, especially with Fixkey just peeking left and peeking right with a frenzy. And if you noticed, the amount of bullets that was left for her was just 11 and no more to actually reload. Nothing left in the mag anymore.
The things that you can do with just one frenzy and maybe, you know, just one magazine as well. But here goes again, anchoring down the sights. It's Fixkey and Kferdani. She goes in for the quick peeks, gets information, slowly backs off. In fact, her team pushing down into A hall, they're kind of confirming that all this information, A is clear. ZOL Meraki, they're definitely pushing into B somewhere, somehow.
Teleport's ready.
Yeah, even rotations are coming in, and two of the members of ZOL are trying to get under and trying to regroup with the rest of ZOL members. Piety is going to take the orb. It's going to be Fixkey yet again with another box that she can play with, but it's going to be a dash and Monica Precious. She's even saved by the cloudburst, but once it dissipates, there are 4 people at her. Where else will you aim? Exiki is gonna be there for the takedown against Kferdani. They managed to pick up another SMG for their own team. SMG? From SMG, I mean. NBS is just waiting here. Has a nice spot to work with. Gets a headshot against Piety. But Gohaibi is there with her, trying to take control, regain control of the site, and it's up to Nicole G. What can she do with it? Classic. Not much, because Gohaibi is gonna be there for the takedown.
This was to be relatively expected. I mean, they did win the pistol after all, but still kind of costly, losing 3 players in that process. ZOL Meraki are really impressive with the way that they just pushed in and were able to take control over places like bench and then eventually the site. There was that one moment where Fixkey kind of became Neo from the Matrix, went full bullet time and dodged all those shots just because she was inside the cloudburst. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, she was
Don't
inside
get
the
rusty.
cloudburst, but then she
Right
saw
here.
Capricious come in once the smoke was gone. Hello, all of the bullets are there. She wasn't able to dodge that anymore. Aphrodite, very brave in terms of these peaks
Smoke's
because
down.
she does have the rendezvous available for them to use, but nothing to use anymore because of that null command from KO. They dash in. Here with the hockey, gets one but doesn't connect the second.
One enemy
But it's gonna be
remaining.
2 remaining for ZOL. Not anymore. It's just Piety yet all alone. And Envious takes her down, and it's now SMG on the lead.
What a way to come back in just to take the lead, take the bull by the horns. And that's something that we've seen from SMG now so far the past 2 rounds. The way that they constantly send a player in towards Hall, taking active control of the map. They go in, they call it clear, they confirm that the hit is headed towards B, and that's where they start to set up flanks as well. So Meraki, I think they weren't really expecting it. They definitely weren't expecting the Bucky on site as well, which did take a huge chunk of damage off of one of the players with the second shot. So it's kind of unfortunate, but ZOL Meraki, they're going to have to play a little bit more controlled now, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And with these cheeky angles that Fixkey has been just really holding, and as you mentioned, a Bucky into play. Nothing excites me more than a Bucky and a judge held by a controller using just the smokes and really waiting inside it, maybe
Get out.
outside of it in the corner.
Disgusting. So annoying. It's the one thing that players usually don't expect just because it's so strong at close range. It does so much damage,
Yeah.
especially if you land those shots. And there's so much potential. And I think that's something that SMG planned as well. They knew that that was a position that they could exploit, especially on the B site. Maybe even A, given the fact that there are two floors, basically.
Right here.
So ZOL Meraki, again, I think they gotta calm down a little bit. Maybe they've been doing a pretty good job at taking space, but they gotta spend a little bit more utility just to clear out some of these corners.
Yeah, and it's not just up to Capricious, right? They have all of the utilities
Yeah,
that
I
they
mean,
need. They have
fragment
the
grenade
breach
maybe.
stuns. Yeah, and the fragment grenade to try and clear out these corners because SMG, they're just waiting and maybe doing a similar play here. Envious does that to them. They take a taste of their own medicine, and
Spike
Miha here
down B.
does get a kill against Aphrodite, and that's a free gun for them. Rotations are gonna come in for SMG, but Fixky actually smells this, and she's
Right
gonna
there.
wait
Oh.
here by Nest. Waiting as well, but
Standing.
Guhaibi with a
Spike
jumping
down, B.
phantom. It's just now down to Nicole G. He has the sheriff in hand, and we've been saying this, her aim is pristine. But is it gonna work against 3 people waiting for her?
I don't think
Fixky has this angle, and it's gonna be a headshot angle. SMG take the lead by 2.
Really, really smart plays coming out from SMG this time. Just recognizing all of this space that's not really being utilized at the moment. They can push out. They do the same strategy of turning A halls into the Valley of Death just by throwing so much utility, having players positioned up by it. It's so much that's been denied for Zolmaraki. I think they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and try different ways of coming back in to take control of the map because finding some frags up over my tunnel, that's not bad. They picked up a weapon, but it's still not enough for them to take control over site, get the spike down.
Yeah, and in terms of the control, though, SMG has been doing well with all of the utilities. As you mentioned, Fixky's smoke, and then as well as the traps here by Aphrodite. She's holding this very sneaky position. I don't think Piety nor Nicole G knows where she is, but she does get wallbound there by Nicole G, but perfect timing to use that rendezvous, though.
Orbital strike being committed as
You want to
well.
play? Let's
Trying to clear out and retake the site. Look at this. They continue to try to push forward, but they're being met with so much resistance. Now they're actually able to break past some of these barriers, but Kohibi with the paint shells makes it an even trade. Aftershock into play as well, and guess what? You cannot get the spike planted on B. This is my house. It's 10-7.
You can't escape Yoki's utility. She's been good with all of those aftershocks and also those fault lines. No escape anymore for Piety. Everything that she could do, whether or not she prays, she cannot escape Yoki at that point. So I think what Zolmaraki has to do is to really slow down. I think you're correct. You're rushing into things, and if you rush into things that way, you just really lead yourself into the crosshair of SMG. And if it's the crosshairs of Envious and Kohibi, it's gonna be scary. Nicole G tries to do a little bit of a Aphrodite move there, but she's greeted down by
Not
two of the
bad.
duelists of SMG.
I call that an even exchange, the damage-wise,
There.
both of them sustained similar amounts, but the main thing is she's forced Kohibi to spend paint shells, spend a boombot. That is a little bit more effective now because then they can go into plant without being too fearful of an aftershock or paint shells being sent their way. They're going to have to be a little bit more careful again, though, because look at how they're re-aggressing. Kohibi has already gotten so much space that she's hiding inside of the cubbies, inside of the bench. She blast packs out of it, as well as Yoki taking down another player. 3v5, Zolmaraki. It's going to be a little bit tough for them to defend the site now, even with Miha being on B site itself. Oh.
Yeah, I'm here, guys, but I've just been stunned. I've been thrown a molly. What else can I do here? She can safely plant the spike at that point because
30
I'm not too
seconds
sure
left.
if the Aftershocks is still gonna be used. It could be baited out.
One enemy
They're
remaining.
gonna hear this clearly. Fixkey actually takes down Exekys, and it's Mia, the first one to get to the site and the last one to stay alive. Nothing else she can do. Aphrodite takes her down.
Unfortunate angles. She thought the corner was relatively safe, but of course with Aphrodite pushing out, it's there's just so much to consider. Again, you talked about them playing slow. I think they're trying to do that, but it's still not calculated enough, right? The way that they're going in to take space, the way that they've allowed for Miha to kind of push back in just because there was so much noise, so much presence towards the bench or arcade position. It's still not enough. One player in towards site, you still need enough firepower to come back into defend, to come back into contest for all these different spots. So perhaps the 5-woman push all the way inside, aggressive dashes in towards spawn. This could be it.
Could not be also because maybe just
It's
found a kill
smoke.
against one, but Precious has pushed up already. He's gonna be ready with
No way.
He's just holding down this
Last
position.
player
Executes,
standing.
runs and guns are down. It's just going to be envious. Just waiting it out. But I think she's waiting at the wrong place. They're going to be. Oh no.
1v2.
Envious says, oh, it's too quiet here. They're going to B, and she's going to hear that call. Okay, spike has been planted in B. And if Exekis and Nicole G don't really have that great of a crossfire, then this will be the end of them for this round. SMG might take match point. Envious is carefully looking for them. Spike has been planted open, so she thinks that one is there by B main. They don't know is one is actually waiting out. She tries to get it to half, maybe bait out where they are. Oops, but it's not a fake anymore. Exekis takes her down and almost defused there. She got hit by a bullet, she stopped. But if she did it, she could have gotten it actually.
Yeah, there was a chance if you just stuck onto it. Maybe because she's like crouched and stuff. It might be a little bit more difficult for them to wallbang, but the fact that it's a 1v2 scenario, someone could be pushing up front. It's not really the worst call to get off of this spike, but unfortunately dropping off that little moment of jumping inaccuracy really caused her to miss her shot. So 8-11, that's still a pretty nice recovery for ZOL Meraki. Let's see if they can continue to ride this wave. Again, sending players down in towards A halls. This time the aggression is not really there, but you've got Nicole G finding her duels. That's a double kill in towards the B site. They're making the quick adaptation to push back in now.
The opening is there, and B is
Trap
open.
destroyed.
Vixky is making her way towards the site. Tries to spray out the Phantom.
Spike
Damage
planted.
not really doing its job at the moment, and Nicole G finds her third, the opening, and also the impact frags for her. Aphrodite takes her down at the moment, but it's just the two of them remaining. It's the duo here, usually in the B site, but
Here.
still, Headhunter is still available for Aphrodite. Vixky uses that molly to try and bait out that push. Piety, not much damage done.
Last
Try
player.
for the retake. Executes is here, and she takes the double though with that corner. Such a cheeky corner for them to take, and ZOL Meraki, nice way to really bring that comeback possible.
That's a fun post plant to watch, right? And I love that SMG are making use of all the tactical timeouts that they have, really wanting to close this out. Let's not go into overtime because there's just so much at stake. This is the first game of the day, and again with the post plant, you talked about hiding in these cheeky corners. You got Capricious just throwing out a random tailwind as well, just to throw them off, just to cause them to feel a little bit more nervous going into that really disadvantageous retake. I think now this is where ZOL Meraki stands a chance at possibly coming back into the game. That's why the timeout is being called. But question is, how are they really able to come back into this game with the adjustments that they're taking? How did they win that round?
Yeah, Nicole G was fortunate to get the double, and then also the third for that one. But if it's just Nicole G trying to find these openings for the team of ZOL Meraki, then it's not going to work. Because
Right.
once Nicole G is shut down, either by a push of Hybe and Envious towards Arcade, or probably there by Dish, then it's not going to be possible. And looking at this in terms of the defense, I guess that's what they want to do. The duo between Kohybe and Envious, that's scary. And it's going to be Piety to greet them.
It's definitely going to be a little bit too conditional just to rely on your teammates to find opening picks. Perhaps sometimes holding a default could allow them to lure their opponents into a false sense of security. I mean, take a look at Dish. You've got two players from SMG already pushing out. Envious as well as Kohabi. But of course, those two are the death squad as well. So Piety backing off. She definitely hears a bit of utility. They're calling out that there are at least 2, maybe 3 players on A. Perhaps we can overwhelm B. I think that's what they're trying to go for right now.
Yep, but overwhelming is Pixie here with a random spray of a Phantom. Nicole G just find the opening yet again. And even with that null command, no retake will commence, not unless it's being done. Nicole G is just moving out in this angle. Yoki waiting this out. Doesn't really use a flash. But still, she wins the duel against the
One
Queen.
enemy
And
remaining.
Envious from behind gets one. Even with this rolling thunder, Piety is stunned, but she doesn't care. But Envious, she does care, and she wants this match point for SMG.
It will go into match point. That was so close. But of course, at the very end of it, SMG taking active control despite all that information being gathered, despite getting control over the site. That's the one thing about this map that you kind of don't really expect or don't see too often. The zip line. You had Envious, they were both in towards attacker spawn, the one on top. But then taking one down the zip line just means that there are 2 separate angles that you gotta look out for. I think so Meraki just weren't really expecting that. So even with Piety, despite being stunned, finding one headshot, she couldn't really take down the final 2 players on her own. There's just so much to consider that ZOL Meraki are starting to get a little bit overwhelmed. Match point now, and here we go.
And in terms of the overwhelming peak there, now they've taken control of A halls and they're stuck here. Not unless they move around and take ropes. This is gonna be a scary battle because SMG, they want this so bad. Even Yoki is ready with that stun, and once that stun commences, it's gonna be Kohabi and Envious to greet them with a spray. But Nicole G, she's being heard here, and Kiferdite hears everything. She knows that one may be there, doesn't really know that Exekis is there as well.
Good smoke. Incendiary as well, just to stall even further. Burning the timer down to about 40 seconds, and once again, like you mentioned, Kohabi and Envious. The flash was a little bit late, but here comes Kohabi, spraying it down. She stalls a little bit further. 40 seconds left, and ZOL Meraki have no choice but to continue to push up front. If they don't find the frags, that could be it. Fortunately for them, they're getting met by so much orbital strike in as well. They're hightailing it all the way to the B site, where they will be met by Kferdite. They need to take her down. They need to take this site if they want to avoid losing this first map. But here it comes. So much space, so much to consider. They finally take her down, and the spike will be planted. It's a 2v2. They need to post-plant positions to be absolutely perfect.
Yamiha is so low, and so is Exeki's damage dealt by that entry. And even a defensive rolling thunder might work
One
well for
enemy
them.
remaining.
And even with a fault line, though, even though SMG is happy and healthy, it's just gonna be Ski alone. She knows where Exeki's and Miha is going to be. She tries to spray through.
One enemy remaining.
False sense of security of an incendiary might not really work well for them because there's part of the spike that hasn't been dealt with.
No.
And that's gonna be Vixky with the kill. And I'm not too sure if there is time. There isn't though. ZOL Meraki is still alive in this game.
Wow. One incendiary possibly saved them from elimination. 10 to 12. This is getting so intense. You talked about having nail biters. This is it. 10 to 12. They spent everything that they possibly had. The rolling thunder in time as well, just to push off the SMG players as they tried to retake, was a very nice touch. But now they need 2 more wins just to push us into overtime. Do you think they can do it, Donut?
I think they can, but at this point, Capricious is just going to be using the Blade Storm. After the blades have been spent, there's nothing else that she can use. She has a classic. It's not going to be enough. Slowed down by that fault line, though. It's good that Yoki knows where they currently are. Nicole G may be the X factor for this round for them to win out another one before SMG wins and takes Fracture.
The silent rotation by the zip line. At the very least, they'll ensure that no one has pushed out of Dish. Not yet. Still have Envious and Kohibi hiding by the other side, though.
Bomb buddy out.
A little bit of an opening shot, perhaps a warning. They might have seen Envious. They know that she's there. They're dashing in, but here comes Kohibi. It's the double. It's the triple. Oh my god, they're getting completely stopped by this one spot. Capricious, what can she do? She switches to her classic, finds a frag, picks up a weapon, but that is it. Yoki closes it out with a headshot, and here it is, 13-10 Donut. Really close, but so unfortunate for Zolmaraki.
The dynamic duo between Envious and Kohibi. Envious was just the bait, and Capricious dashed in. She thinks that she would get the kill, but Kohibi is there. Surprise! She gets 2 headshots, and then Yoki just came by and drove by just in the right time to save the day for SMG.
You had, what, 4, maybe actually 5 players pushing into Dish. But the one thing, the one X factor is Kohibi. This girl, again, single-handedly just controls and dominates, finds so many frags. All she really needs is a little bit of support from her team to back her up, right? Envious being the distraction, like you said. And that was the game changer of that entire round. It's really unfortunate. There was a chance for them to actually perhaps overwhelm the site, but I think the call to go into Dish, unfortunately, was the thing that really killed them.
Yeah. It was unfortunate. They didn't really know that Envious and Kohibi would be there waiting for them. Although, at least for the side of Zolmaraki, they did their part. Capricious when it comes to the entries, and Nicole G looking for opportunities within the map so that they can try and enter. Although that wasn't just enough. Capricious did so well in the first half during defending. She would usually just hold these angles, and together with the support of Miha and as well as Piety, when it all boils down to trying to get these opening kills. I'm pretty sure Capricious has the most first bloods for this specific match, but again, the first bloods won't really matter if the rest of your members are also taken down by the team of SMG.
Yeah, it looks really good from SMG's side, especially once they swapped over to defense. You can start to see that they're perhaps relying less on Kohibi to go in and open up space. They're starting to play as a team more, and that's why even though you see less in terms of headshot percentage, they are able to dish out more damage. They're able to win out more rounds, especially once you will go into that second half. And that said, though, I honestly think Zolmaraki, they show a lot of potential. I mean, talk about the Valley of Death. You mentioned Capricious holding down A Halls. She was supported by Piety. She was supported by the Breach player as well. There's so much that they can possibly do. I mean, there was that one executed round in attack as well, where Capricious just took quick control. She dashed up in towards on the top of ropes. That's something that really threw SMG off guard, I think. And if they can do the same thing in Breeze, well, that's going to be one heck of a breeze for a map.
Definitely, and that's Zolmaraki's map pick, and Breeze will just be in a short while, right, Quack?
Yeah, we'll go into Breeze pretty soon, so we're going to take a quick break. We're going to possibly, take a drink as well. People at home, please pull some friends together, get some snacks. If you're not watching this with snacks, you're kind of doing it wrong.
Yeah, you need to.
But of course, that's going to be it for us from now. We also have the main FSL stream going on, where I believe it's one of the Thai teams going on, Arakat Arresta versus Gamdang. So that's going to be another nail biter as well. So stick around, guys. We will be back after this.
Welcome back to VCT Game Changers APAC Series Open number 2. You just witnessed game number 1 between ZOL Meraki and Team SMG, and it was an explosive one. It was a nail biter. It was very, very close, too close for comfort for Team SMG because ZOL Meraki, they're in it to fight and win it.
I know, right? I mean, at some point the score was about like 5-6-1 or something, and then
Yeah.
SMG just came back. They took it 7-5. They started to dominate in the second half. There's just so much potential for both teams that honestly, I kind of want to see what ZOL Meraki has in store for us on Breeze.
Yeah, definitely. This is their map pick. And as we saw earlier on, ZOL Meraki, they're good with these aim duels and also trying to take control of certain sites when it comes to Exekeys' smokes. Like the sky smokes prove very, very effective in terms of their retakes and in terms of their pushes. When it comes to Breeze, though, I'm looking forward to what Exekeys will be using. Will we see a Viper from her?
Nice.
And Team SMG, they're picking defense first.
The agent meta has kind of changed here and there. Controllers have been balanced so much. I think on Breeze, you typically still would want to go with a Viper just because it's a big map. Toxic Screen covers up so much. But at the same time, you have so much more to consider now because Poison Cloud and Toxic Screen cannot really be used at the same time or you'll just burn out your entire the meter. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult. At the same time, because this is Breeze, because they are starting on attack, this is a team that we've known to go with KO as an agent. I think that's going to be really, really useful as they go in on both sides. And here it is, agent select, and the Viper's definitely being locked in.
Yeah, I mean, the Viper, although, of course, what you mentioned about the fuel being expended quite too fast, maybe just really smart use of it. Use the toxin screen first in terms of the entry and using the poison cloud after during the post plants. That would be the best way to go. But what you expected
No
to
KO.
be picked, no KO.
I'm a little bit
quack.
sad.
Yeah, go Hybe and as well as Miha chose the Sky instead of the KO, probably because of its healing abilities
Choose your agent.
instead of the null command.
This is, I'm going to be honest, a little bit unusual for me. We used to see Kohibi basically pure duelist all the way, if not Raze, probably Reyna. An occasional Sage, apparently, but now on the Sky. Pseudo-duelist, that could be fun to watch, but again, it's going to be all down to how they really go in to take space and push out of places like A main.
Could be, because Kohibi, maybe they're giving the reins to Envious this time. And when it comes to being that pseudo-duelist, there's actually more that you can do with the Trailblazer and also the Guiding Lights, right? You can use this to really create a distraction if you have a play there, especially in the A lobby. Here towards Cave, if you push out and use the Guiding Light, it's going to be quite exciting. Sometimes I see a lot of clips here. Okay, just a pop flash of a Guiding Light and then they were able to get 2 or 3 kills. And these are important openers, especially that they're on the defense.
Absolutely. And speaking of defense, that's the other thing that I'm kind of worried about. Both teams, both sides have basically elected to go with this mirror matchup, the same exact agent compositions. We see a chamber in as well. That's going to be pretty effective just given the fact that you have a little bit of stalling power with the trademark. You also have so much damage that you can possibly dish out if you are that really sharpshooter type of player.
Yeah, and it's going to be another head-to-head between Capricious and Envious, as they did pick the Jet. I think the Jet is really the most optimal duelist here. They could choose the Reyna, but it's going to be more of like that second entry instead of that main entry, right? Because we saw earlier on in the map of Fracture, even though the spaces are very cramped up, you still see both Envious and Capricious dash in towards the site. What more can you do if you have that open site such as B and A, wherein you can use the updraft more Oh, together with a tailwind.
That's Jet. That's Jet, right? The tailwind, the updraft. There's so much space that she can really cover, and that's something that you tend to see a lot of teams do as they execute in towards the A site, or maybe even B. Just cloudburst in, tailwind in towards your own cloudburst, and all of a sudden your opponents are kind of scuffling, like they're not too sure where to look, because at the same time you have your teammates pushing out of the main positions as well. So they're gonna have to either play a little bit more defensively because of this, or something else. You know, I'm kind of disappointed though that nobody's picking Yoru.
Oh.
Right?
Well, yes, that's true. Yoru would be a good pick here just because of how open the space is. Even in other competitive matches that I've seen before, a Yoru would just really prove to be a distraction using the fake outs, right? Okay, maybe I'm going to be ready to hold this angle. A jiggle peek, thinking that it's the real Yoru, but it's not. A blind comes in, and then the rest of the members, you blink, and then when you open your eyes, there are 5 people in the site already. That's Yoru now.
That's Yoru now, but of course, I mean, there is a little bit of uncertainty when you try out some of these new agents, and you go with what's reliable, and that's of course Jet coming in as Sova as well. There's so much that you can play off of, but let's see what Zomaraki really has in store for us as they go in on the attack. Just pushing in towards Hall instantly. They open up the metal doors. This is kind of uncertain for me as well, because take a look at what's happening below them. There are 2 players hiding underneath wooden doors. Unfortunately for them though, Miha actually got taken out towards the back.
Yeah, and Envious here. That was such an early rotation, and even with this flank, this is so powerful. If she gets the timing, then this could be a good possibility. Everybody else is behind her. She gets to
down A.
Even the 4th one, the last one is a classic. I mentioned that was a good flank. It wasn't just good, it was great. She was able to get 4 out of the way, and ZOL, they never really looked back.
Oh my goodness. This is the first round. How are you able to pull something like that off? Donut, you make Tony the Tiger really proud, because that was great for sure. Oh, the Headhunter. I mean, sure, she whiffed a couple of shots, but spending every single round in that moment really netted her every single frag. The classic as well. Zomaraki really weren't expecting it, and that is just something that when you're giving up so much space, there's so much that you can do. Zomaraki have to be a little bit more cautious with their approach.
Yeah, now there's actually a trap placed now to try and stop Aphrodite from doing the same thing yet again, and Nicole G has already pushed up here by Halls. And I mean, the space has been taken away, but she's not going to be greeting anybody anytime soon.
Wow.
It's going to be Envious, though, to take down Miha.
Spawn.
Such a bold and brave move to push out there by mid and just use the Sheriff to take them down, maybe 1 by 1, but they've already reached B. I mean, at least they're towards the lobby, but Nicole G has been spotted out by the trap. And Fixky, she's going to be ready.
Definitely ready, to say the least. She's got a Spectre as well, and that means Nicole G won't really have much joy as she tries to make the most out of that lurk position.
1 enemy remaining.
Marshals versus Classic as well, but okay, Piety somehow wins the first duel, but of course Envious coming in from the back. This is what we expected. Once you win the pistol round, SMG will be able to secure that with relative ease. Still a pretty interesting approach by Zomaraki, though. I'm interested to see if they can do more as they continue to push Nicole G in towards lurking positions like what we saw in Halls.
Yeah, and it was just unfortunate. I mean, good placement of traps there by Aphrodite just to try and stop anybody from doing what she's doing against Zomaraki. So I guess that's really all about perfect placements of the traps, and as well as the timing in terms of the lurks. It was just quite unfortunate that Fixky was ready, and she was alarmed by the trap as well. So Nicole G, even though she's flanking, have they already taken control of...
Slowly making their way in. They've already dashed. They've already planted the spike, but whether or not they can actually hold their current position is another thing. As Yoki continues to push up front. Spectre close range, though, they expected that, so taking it down is going to be someone else. But now Kohibi comes in. She sprays through the smokes. She gets the frags. She swats to her ghost, still finds the fourth, looking for the ace now. Piety wants to deny this, but not expecting the sudden swing. It's a headshot. Kohibi, you cannot be allowed to do this. It's a 3-0. It's too dominant.
Ace.
She gets the ace in the third round, and the last kill was just a ghost. Take note, this was actually their bonus round. And them winning the bonus is not just really a confidence booster for them, but it's also just really them hyping each other up. I can imagine the comms to be, let's go Hybe! That ace is so amazing, and that's just really all the motivation that they need. It means in terms of the defense, they can be stronger because that's what was shown in the map of Fracture. Probably them now getting rolls in terms of the score is what we're expecting given the amount of aim that they've gathered and the warm-up that they've gathered from the map of Fracture.
Oh my goodness, there's so much. And again, that was the full buy. That was, this is a bonus win for SMG. The one toxic screen might have allowed them to get their way on the site and get it planted, but again, they're just not too cautious. This time around, though, finding the opening pick, they picked up a Vandal as well. Let's see if Capricious can make the most out of this.
Oops, Capricious here, holding that sliver of a peak though. Ooh, that's gonna hurt, but she still gets the kill against Pixie. It's now down to her. She just has one shock bolt remaining, but she's spotted out by Envious, and Kohibi swings out, getting the 3K. Not much that ZOL can do at that point. They were on a low buy, and that wasn't just enough to control the aggression of SMG.
And not at all. You can definitely see a lot of tiny gaps, tiny things that SMG are really exploiting with the way that ZOL Meraki are taking down a site. It's the toxic screen. They managed to use that to sneak their way in, but once that happens, once they get the spike planted, it seems like everyone just kind of gets lost in terms of positioning, right? Always around the pyramids. You can see some pings being called out on the minimap currently as well by Team SMG. It's, I think it's about time ZOL Meraki either try to find a different way to approach into the A site, or perhaps try a different site altogether.
Yeah, they did so in the pistol round. That was quite surprising to see. Capricious just really moving forward, getting A-Hall control. Unfortunately, SMG, they knew what was coming, and in terms of the hold, these positions there behind the box by yellow and behind the pyramids there in A was such a good was such good positions for them to not only look at a main, but to look at double doors, and as well as once that door opens, they'll be ready to peek out. And I guess that was it. I think ZOL Meraki just gave away their pistol strat, and possibly now SMG is ready for those types of surprising plays from them.
In fact, SMG, if I do say so myself, they are the ones surprising ZOL Meraki. I mean, all these different holds. You've got Kohibi sneaking in and out of toxic screens as well. I mean, she did that entire round with nothing but a Spectre and a Ghost. Here comes round number 5, and another surprise is going to be Envious pushing in towards Elbow. There's so much that ZOL Meraki aren't really considering, that they're losing control over parts of the map. I mean, now B is basically gone. All that they're left with is mid and A.
Mid and A, that could be a possibility, but Yoki is there. Kohibi takes down Miha. No more of those flashes available for them. Kohibi yet again with another kill against Piety. It's down to Aphrodite. And a very, very low Capricious. What can Capricious do at this point? Nicole G has been spotted out by those cabbages. 2 HP. Oops. She eliminates one to at least know where they are currently rotating. Nicole G spots out one. Mid is where they want to be. Kohibi. Oops, the head is spotted. But Nicole G, she's still alive, and she's kicking out Kohibi. very, very winnable, but the spike is very, very far away from them.
She's definitely making her way down to pick it up with only 20 seconds left.
Yes.
I don't think this is the play anymore. Definitely need. You don't have time to get it planted, Nicole.
Oh, no.
10 seconds
I have
left.
the spike.
Even a rendezvous wouldn't
He
really
knows it.
help that much. Nope. 4 seconds. It's down. And Kifrodite, she wins this round by mere use of patience.
Just an unfortunate way of I guess, not really reading the situation right. 20 seconds left. At that, given how much space there is
Here.
between that part of the map, bottom mid as well as A site, it's just not enough for you to run over and get it planted. And of course, Kifrodite recognized that completely. She didn't even have to go in for any duel or establish any presence whatsoever. She just ran over to hide inside of B. So 5-0 now. What do you think Zolmaraki needs to do to adjust their
You want to
approach?
play?
my
Let's
way.
play.
Well, at this point, they need to be a little bit unpredictable because right now they're sticking together, and Nicole G, she's not really doing such a good job in terms of these fangs. She's very, I mean, once she's spotted out by the trap, one's gonna respond, and even Envious, look at the
Here,
amount
I've
of
got your
space she's
trail.
taken away with the Blaze Storm. She takes down one, she even dashes through, and the rest of the members of ZOL, they're not yet gonna be ready for this flag. And Capricious, who Envious actually uses the Vandal instead to take down Piety. Exekeys there by the spike.
Spike
Well, the
planted.
spike is planted,
Last
but
player standing.
still
Wait,
there's
what?
one person remaining. It's gonna be Yoki. And again, if she pushes through the toxin screen, she's gonna get decayed, but to a small amount of HP. Exekeys is low and uses the Viper's Pit instead. And Yoki knows that maybe one will push out that big block of jelly, as we call it, but still Yoki. She makes her presence known. She uses a snake bite to try and isolate the duel.
remaining.
She is able to do so, but Capricious is behind her. And ZOL takes the first one for this map of Breeze.
Honestly, they might have taken that first one, but it looked like they did it through sheer brute force. Walking in towards the B side, Capricious had nothing but a classic. This was a round where they really just forced the duels. They managed to take down the SMG players who were possibly not expecting it. Even Envious coming in from the back was ultimately denied by Exekeys, and that netted her that Viper's Pit. They managed to set it up, and at that point, it's way too difficult for Yoki to retake. If they can do the same thing, if they can honestly just catch SMG off guard and find these duels somehow, they could come back into the game. But here goes 1v5 now, making use of the toxic screen. They walk past it, and that's where a trade happens. So not too bad. They get control over the site. Can they hold it down though?
Yeah, but they're closing in on them actually, and even Kohaibi manages to get some damage towards Exekeys. Yeah, staying here, and she's probably gonna be dead soon by that shock bolt. Nicole G gets a trade out, but they're closing in. Envious pushes through, gets a kill against Chamber. The use of that Hunter's Fury
player
is gonna
standing.
get damaged and
Ooh.
a kill. And now Piety gets 2 and wins the round for Zolmaraki.
Not too shabby. This is one way to do it, right? They have the toxic screen up. They know how to walk past it. All that comes down to is just finding those duels. They might have lost first player, but they instantly traded. And along with that, they managed to take up space. They managed to set up for their post-plant positions where, along with utilities like the Hunter's Fury, Snake Bites perhaps as well, they were able to stall and defend their spike, prevent SMG from coming in to retake the site. So now, 5-2. They can keep this up. Very likely this will go into 5-3.
Yeah, the damage has been done to SMG. Even when it comes to the economy, they're on a save now. And Yoki, she's been dealing with this drone for the past few rounds already. She's the first line of defense, and the defense has been broken down. However,
What?
she's able to get a kill against Miha. Well, not close for comfort though. Yoki gets another
Spike
one
down
against
A.
Nicole G. She's just
What?
holding a sheriff, and she just gets the third.
One enemy
I
remaining.
thought she was gonna get the third, but Kifrodite is there with a headhunter instead. Exekeys is all alone. 49 HP gets first one. But still, there's more to come. The door has been closed on her. And she has to go around. Now, Vixie, she's fixed her eyes here by the bridge. And there's going to be a little bit of a peek there. Head has been shown and Vixie gets the kill. What a beautiful round there by SMG.
SMG. And you know, those 3 frags were all the impact that they needed. Yoki just playing around the one angle, able to find 3 heads. One possibly through a smoke as well as the spike was getting planted. It's magical, honestly, Donut. It's just magical.
It's true. I thought she would give up after she was tagged by that drone, but no. She said she's never gonna give up, and she just really repeats, and she uses the pyramid as what her defense. That was her shield, but Capricious though. She senses Envious coming together with that Trailblazer. Thus, Capricious getting the first kill this time. But again,
Not letting us down. Not giving up at all. But here they go. In towards elbow, and this is something that SMG has tried before, and this is what we want to see more of from ZOL Meraki, right? Taking active control, actively trying to fight in and contest, force these duels against SMG, because right now, with the way that they're playing, with the way that they're trying to set up for all these different positional plays, I mean, take a look at Yoki down middle as well. It's something that they might not expect, the sudden push out of some of these positions. And with all 5 players from ZOL Meraki hiding up by elbow, they might not really expect the sudden push outside of B main, and here it comes. If K490 can land the shots, though, that's going to be a completely different story because she has a Tour de Force, and she slows them down, and she's got support from Kohaibi as well. There goes the second, and now all they're looking for are the final 2, not to mention Yoki rotating over as well. There's way too much in front of ZOL Meraki at this point as they continue to try to trade and duel it out. Kohaibi just says that duels are my domain. Get out of here. It's 7-2.
yeah, all she needs are really the information from the guiding lights that she's been sending out. She wants to confirm there's 1, but okay, maybe the second angle confirms that there are 2. And that's the reason why they were just waiting out for the trades. But I really love the hold for K490 because there was a drone. She destroyed it using the Tour de Force. But then she just, I mean, as a Sentinel main, she just repositions and uses the angle against them. That was just so beautiful in terms of the hold together with Kohaibi. So now they try to go here in 8 yet again, and Yoki, we've seen her in these defensive positions. It's gonna be Vixie to use the Vandal instead. That was there was really that long line of smoke, right?
No.
And even Vixie gets a kill with a shock bolt. Great defense here by SMG, and Envious yet again with the flank. They don't really hear and know that this is coming, and Miha is gonna be turned back. She's blinded by their own, but it's okay. Envious gets a kill. Capricious is still alive, but still Kohaibi finishes her off. Now SMG 8-2 now. Really surprising us when it comes to the retakes and when it comes to the holds.
Absolutely just overwhelming ZOL Meraki. I mean, again, it's these tiny, unfortunate mishaps, perhaps. I mean, you talked about all these different plays coming in, but again, when they try to swap back over to the A site, they go in with the toxic screen, they manage to get the spike planted, they manage to push themselves into that tiny corner by the right side of the pyramid, but they're not able to hold it down. If SMG get to dictate the pace of the round, if they get to dictate when they want to start the retake, if they get to decide and have Envious coming in with flanks as well, ZOL Meraki really don't have any real control over the site, despite having a bit of presence on the site itself. There's just too much for them to deal with that they get overwhelmed and they get shut down. So it's kind of interesting that SMG are calling a tactical timeout at this juncture. It's 8-2. They have the advantage. They're pulling out an operator as well. What do you think they could be possibly discussing, Donut?
maybe a little bit of a change of pace and placement. Yoki has been doing well there in A.
Hmm.
So I guess she really has to be that turtle in the middle of that A site because wherever she peeks, she always gets one or two together with Fixkey. But probably this is really more of a retake type of discussion.
Mm.
Wherein or maybe there's gonna be a big risk here towards A-Halls. Look at this position. They've never really done this before, and they've let go of A entirely. So maybe they're discussing the retakes. Okay, there's gonna be a kill by the Koji, but instantly traded there by Kohaibi.
Absolutely. They're not worried. I think they're taking into consideration the ultimates that ZOL Meraki has as well. I mean, these Seekers, they're not really doing much at all this round. All the positions that the SMG players are holding, it's just a setup for retakes, honestly. Here it comes, Viper Spit being set up as well, but I'm pretty sure these Seekers will do quite a bit, as well as the Owl Drone, and they're pushing in along with it as well. If they can take down Exekys, that could change the outcome of this round, but Exekys is doing her best to anchor and hold it down. She needs to stay in and out of her Viper's Pit, at least nearby, but here comes Fixkey. The retake's already underway, and Capricious is doing her best to hold and defend as well. It's all out to Kohaibi now in a 1v3, and she does not expect the frag from the back. 8-3. ZOL Meraki actually turned this around.
Last round before the switch.
Yeah, that was a great attempt for a retake, but it was really the
extra money if
Viper
anyone
Spit
needs.
that was really such a nuisance for them. Even with the Seekers from the sky, from Kohaibi, identified where they are, it's easy to reposition within that Viper Spit. So even if they pushed out, okay, there's nobody there anymore. And that's great cover for Exekys to use that Viper Spit, but right now, Nicole G still has a 3rd force. They haven't used it yet because there wasn't any opportunity to do so just yet. And Yoki has her own Viper Spit this time, and Envious yet again with a Blade Storm. So in terms of this last round of the first half, I'm really betting that it will go the way of SMG, not unless ZOL does it yet again to take A main control first, and then the site, and then hold the post plant positions very, very well, just as they did the previous round.
Yeah, it's something that has worked out for them before. The times that it doesn't work, I mean, that retake was honestly a little bit odd. They had the Seekers, they had things in store, they had plans to go back in, but perhaps the Viper Spit was the one thing that really threw a wrench in their plans. I mean, even with the Seekers, if they wanted to peek along with it, the timing was just a little bit off, perhaps. It was really expensive as well. I mean, they have operators being bought into the round, but it works out better for them when they have utilities being spent to deny the really predictable spike planting positions. I mean, when you have ZOL Meraki planting in that one corner, which they've done before, and then you have someone like Yoki or perhaps Fixkey who are positioned around the A side itself, and they throw in shock bolts, they throw in a couple of shots from Sheriffs or Vandals, they are able to take them out as the spike is getting planted. That is something that does a lot of damage. And that previous round, I think it was just a bit of a misread perhaps from SMG, so a little bit odd, but they're still in the lead.
Yeah, I loved what you said about the combination of the utilities from the defense side. It's actually Yoki Snakebite together with the shock bolts. That's why Fixkey was also able to get the kills. It's double damage. But you just use one shock bolt instead of two. Usually it's two, but with the use of the utilities, I guess it's really SMG practicing their way around Breeze, and this might be the downfall of ZOL Meraki, because even though this is their map pick, SMG gaining the lead as early as the first half might be a little bit shaky for them in the defense, knowing how much Envious and Kohaibi are aggressive towards these attacks. I'm not really sure if ZOL Meraki are able to hold down the sites, but we're back here. It's the last round of the first half. Yoki uses the Viper Spit here, so it's gonna be a lockdown, but A-Halls is open for them for taking.
Gotta look at Fixkey though. Tour de force versus an operator, and she's just waiting for them to peek. There goes the first shot. Owl drone instantly to gain a little bit more information. Nicole G is taking the fight to her though, pushing up front as well. She's holding and watching, waiting for Fixkey to peek back out. As Yoki, that's a little bit over aggressive. The Viper Spit has now been nullified. This A site could be open. Oh, look at Envious though.
It could be open, but Gohaibi is just waiting here behind. She's not yet spotted out by any of the Sova's utilities, but Nicole G actually takes down the operator of Society. Actually, it's Fixkey here at the back of the site. Uses the shock bolt to take any damage. No kills just yet. Piety is holding her ground here in the middle of the pyramids, and they just close the door out. Probably a little lack of safety for them, but Envious takes down one with the flank.
Oh, he's flanking. Presence is known, and it comes down to Nicole G and the rest of her squad defending this one spike. It's the death squad from SMG that they have to deal with though, and here it comes. One has been eliminated.
1v1.
It's down to the 1v1. She's got about perhaps 10-ish seconds left, and that's going to be it. Unfortunately, despite winning out those frags, Heidi has done her job, just anchoring and holding out, making sure that nobody pushes out of cave. 8-4. Not the worst thing in the world. Not the worst thing in the world, done it.
Not really, because at least Zomeraki, they were able to figure out what the defense was like for Team SMG. They know that Yoki would always be the one defending the A site, and they've tried to go to B, but K-Aphrodite was really a force there that they weren't able to go to B a lot of the time. So they had more success in A. At least they were able to take down the spike in terms of really planting it and even guarding it there in the A site. It's just that it all boils down also to the effectiveness of the retake of Team SMG together with Gohaibi's utility and Fixkey's mere use of the shock bolts as well. Even in the retakes, you would see some of the bars, the health bars of the team of Zomeraki goes down to half, right? And that's really the beauty of these initiators for these ladies.
It's down to that agent composition that they're both playing, but certainly for now at least it seems like SMG are a little bit better. Still though, that last round left me wanting a little bit more just because they had so many things going right for them, but Yoki pushed out of her Viper's Pit. That was kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, that was supposedly a round that was theirs. It was a 9-3 if she wasn't really killed there by her mirror, the mirror agent Viper. Yeah. Maybe Exekeys knew, okay, I do this often, so probably Yoki will do this. And she was just anticipating the push, and the push was there. She was punished for it. And Nicole G was able to also gain a lot of the kills using the Tour de Force for them. So that was an impactful round. An 8-4 is really possible given that the ladies of Zomeraki, they're very good in terms of the defense, as we've seen in the map of Fracture. Them holding these angles, Capricious really pushing out, holding assisted by their initiators. And I assume that will be the same relationship that Miha and Capricious will have in the map of Breeze, and maybe that's the reason why they selected it. They have plans to recover in terms of the defense.
That is something that we have to watch out for, truthfully, because it's something that some of these SMG players have done as well. I mean, it's been, what, 2 or 3 times now that Envious has pushed out of B or middle just to rotate back around and set up a flank towards A cave. That was something that really nullified some of the defenses that Zomeraki had as they tried to prevent the spike from getting retaken. So it's something that Zomeraki could do as well, but whether or not it's going to be effective is a whole other thing as they go back into the game. This is the start of the second half, and SMG are already going really aggressively, dashing in towards the B side. Capricious, though, here she comes, finding the first one. She's able to do a little bit of damage.
Yeah, and though Capricious is here, though, she's stuck in the middle of this. Gohaibi was ready for that peek, though. And Piety from behind, she's taken down by Aphrodite, and it's up to Nicole G. She takes down one with the Headhunter, but there's still 3 more that she has to uncover. She has 3 bullets as well. 1 for each, probably for this retake, but she misses the 3. Switches to the classic. She's stuck here in this box every time she peeks out. It'll be ready for her. 10 HP. There's nothing that she can do. Kohaibi takes a 3K for that round and a win for SMG.
It's incredibly fast, and again, SMG, they're just going in with this aggression. Yeah, they get a little bit antsy at times, pushing out of backwards hits, but when it comes down to these duels, they are definitely dominating. I mean, look at Kohaibi with the 20 frags, 4 deaths, 2 assists. Capricious needs to stack her numbers up just to even out those odds. And at the same time, you got players like Envious and K4Daddy as well, pulling out a Guardian now. This is really, really difficult to break past.
Toxins going up.
Yeah, I mean, a headhunter works like a guardian, right? So she'll just switch to that weapon just in case. Exeke's using the same fight. Oops! Double damage. He was able to take down 2.
A.
Even Fixkey behind that wall. She knew the one was there. But Yoki strikes back with a kill against Piety and K4Daddy with a bulldog though. These classics are proving so well for ZOL Meraki. They're getting the kills 1 by 1, but there's still a wall. It's Kohaibi, 79 HP. She knows one is behind the pyramid, but she doesn't know where Miha is. So she's trying to isolate the duels. Maybe, no, she misses it barely.
Okay.
But still,
She's got time.
quite a smart move for her. She's gonna be planting, but it's not a fake. She's
planted.
continuing the plant. She has no time. She's gonna get blinded by that guiding light. But sees one.
Oh boy.
Damage
enemy
done
remaining.
though. Kills 1, but there's still another, and she clutches it out.
there's
Too
some
close for
syringe.
comfort, but still Kohaibi. She prevails.
A little bit shaky, if I'm being honest, for some of these players as they get taken out, you know, going to aggressive and close range positions, going up against classics. They got taken out, but when it comes down to it, damage was done. The final 2 players were down to about maybe 50, 30 HP. Kohaibi with the Spectre, still able to close it out, and also planting the spike for the extra economy bonus. It's not the best, but it's not too bad either. They will have a little bit going into this round, so here come the Sheriffs. But of course, ZOL Meraki having lost the previous 2, they've saved up, they've got the full buys, and they should be able to stop them from pushing through.
Ooh,
Spike down
perfect
A.
time for that drone to spot them out. But there's gonna be a
Oh my
person by
God.
Kohaibi. She's the only one who bought a Vandal, or maybe this is something that she picked up from one of the members. Still, she's very powerful with this weapon. She sees Miha, and she knows that Capricious is yet again behind that box. Same positions for ZOL Meraki.
What?
It's quite predictable now. She gets the 4K, sees the tracers of the Vandal of Capricious. Now, Miha reveals her position, and Yoki, we've seen her with the Sheriff, and she takes the headshot. SMG, that was a low buy, but that was a high.
That was a high indeed. That was a high win. This is unbelievable. How are you able to pull off shots like that again and again? Kohaibi, the rest of her team as well. They just went in hyper aggressively, making use of the toxic screen to create space walking into the site itself. They took close range fights. They took and stole Vandals away from the ZOL Meraki girls. And once they had it, I mean, I don't know how Kohaibi does these things, but spray control of that Vandal. That's her the 4th kill in the round. And then just Yoki to clean things off. It's 11-4 now, Donut. And along with that win is ZOL Meraki's economy breaking. How do you possibly come back from this?
Well, it also has to be the mental fortitude of ZOL Meraki. At this point, there's a lot of rounds that they should really be stacking up to prevent SMG from getting that match point, right? And I think that's what they're deciding, whether or not they should be forcing a buy, at least a Vandal and a Bulldog there by Capricious, or do they just really want to play for overtime, or in they have a low buy now? And then push for that round streaks, right? But I think that's not the case. They're forcing now, ZOL.
boy.
They want to really fight back, but against the team of SMG, this is close to impossible.
Oh no. Well, it could work out if they hold their sight completely well. It's going to be dangerous though. Yoki getting slowed now, getting a little bit decayed as well. Is that going to be extra keys capitalizing off of that insta-frag? And here it comes.
Blinded.
3 more players on the other side. They are trying to hold their ground, trying to find these angles, and trying to find lineups as well, apparently. Vixky, hello? 3v4, and they still stand a chance at pushing us into match point.
Yeah, Vixky, that was an impact frag. They managed to at least equalize the situation to a 3v4.
Here.
But ZOL, Nicole G, she's pushing up. She's gonna get...
Oh.
Aphrodite's trap hasn't really been alarmed just yet. And she does get the frag. That's so important. Even though she's so low, that was very impactful for the team of ZOL. And the impact of this buy has really been tremendous for the team
30
of
seconds left.
ZOL Meraki. But Aphrodite with that opening here in the site might prove
Last
so well
player
for them.
standing.
Okay.
Kohaibi
Spike
even
down
gets a
A.
kill, but Kohaibi's low. This should be impossible, right? Yes, it is.
I doubted it for a second as well. I mean, it is Kohaibi after all, but team play comes in.
Yeah, that's true.
Trailblazer and peeking off of it. Not too bad at all from ZOL Meraki, and that is where we start to see some semblances of hope, start to see some cracks in this SMG offense. I mean, time and time again, we see them go really aggressively. I think they really weren't expecting ZOL Meraki to force that round, so the Gambit honestly paid off. I mean, the Guardians and everything, Bulldogs, it was really expensive. If they lost that round, they would have to force the match point round with Spectres as well, but because they were able to win, because they were able to deny that that initial push, they were able to come back in with a 5th win. But now here comes 11-5. They lose the initial player in towards Halls. This is getting shaky again.
Yeah, possibility for match point here for SMG, but Capricious and Piety here, they're able to get the kills, but Envious just pushes up in the middle of the pyramid to get the kill. Now it's down to Miha. She still has, she has nothing else but the regrowth. Now that Guiding Light doesn't really give her the information that she needs. And she has to swing very manually. She sees the one and even the second against Envious. Now that clutch from Miha is such a revival for them, a call for them to keep on going. ZOL Meraki, they're still in it.
This is it. This is what you need.
even
You might be
try.
11-6, but off a clutch like that, you cannot tell me that you're not excited. You have to keep on fighting and see it through to the end. ZOL Meraki, they stand a chance. I mean, that was honestly a little bit tough for Miha to win, but she managed to do it with superior aim, with favorable duels. I mean, she was able to find those headshots.
Yeah, I mean, probably the reason why. I mean, she didn't have any utilities, but coming from her background in another title,
You want to play?
yes,
Let's
title,
play.
right? You would really know
Blinded.
that her aim would be superior.
Cats.
Even now,
Blinded. I've got your
she's that
trail.
blind, but nobody just yet uses the Seekers. Envious takes down Capricious though, and she's stuck in this situation, but still she manages to get the kill against the Flamestorm of Envious. She spots out one, but still Piety
Blinded.
takes a trade, using again that shock bolt. Ivy's just waiting in the middle. They don't really have, I mean, Piety is there, but she's preoccupied. Zikis is ready for that peek. Go Heidi. Didn't really find the timing. Even with that peek, Yoki gets a kill with the Phantom.
One enemy
She
remaining.
spots out one,
Last
but there's
player
a trade.
standing.
Team play is what we're seeing now for SMG. A possible match point with Nicole G. She's looking for the opponent in this big block of jelly, but it's gonna hurt her.
Oh.
It's gonna be a decay plus the snake bite. 1 HP in this middle. She's able to get a kill, but not the win. Match point for SMG. Quack.
I like that. Not
Match
lime
point.
green jelly and a little bit of green applesauce just right by the bottom of your feet. The snake bite.
Yeah.
That's all she needed to do. Yoki, despite being low HP, managed to secure that win just by using her utility, just by timing it out and ensuring that the defuse would not go through, even with the frag. So match point, 12-6, and we have a bit of a force coming out from Zolmaraki.
And I wanted to add that Nicole G was also baked inside the oven. green apple jelly and sauce.
Oh my goodness. Are they still going to be baked though? I mean, are they still going to be baked though? They managed to push out. They're using their sheriffs. They're using whatever they have at their disposal. They're finding the frags, but do they really have control? Along with this one that comes from Capricious, they just might. Capricious saves her team from elimination just with the headshot. Triple kill, 12-7. Zolmaraki are still in this fight.
Here.
They are, and I really love that hold. It was such a big risk to really invest a lot of the people there in the A site, but they read it quite well. They read that SMG will be just really rushing in because it's already match point. A lot of the teams here, just because it's match point, you just really want to go in fast to get it over with already, but ZOL, they're so careful and they're so smart about these risks that they take. But I think at this point, SMG, they have to slow down a little bit. They're close to getting the win, close to getting that 2-0. And if they're not too careful, Meraki, they might take this map away from Team SMG.
Absolutely. I mean, this is not the time to get complacent. SMG, they're playing on the attack, which means that they kind of have this inherent disadvantage, and that's part of the reason why Zolmaraki was able to win out in that previous round, because it might be match point, but if you just, press W and kind of go, Jesus, take the wheel, I'm just going to push outside of Gay Cave and expect to win, it's not going to happen too easily. Even with Guardians, even with Spectres and Sheriffs, Zolmaraki are still a force to be reckoned with, and that is why SMG are going to have to slow things down, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, sending in Kohaibi together with Envious is always going to be the strategy, right, in terms of this attack. But still, Exekeys here, holding down the ground at the A site. Sometimes Exekeys, they know how to shut them down. She knows how to shut them down. And looking at the scoreboard, though, Exekeys has been really doing well in terms of these support kills. She does a lot of damage using the snake bite and also the initial sprays that she does whenever there's going to be a push there by A. But still, the team of SMG, they got more of the frags and they got more of the kills. And looking at Kohaibi's score,
I mean,
29 and 8.
You said it before the game started. She's known for dropping those 30, 40 bombs. This is just another Tuesday for Kohaibi.
It's, another Taco Tuesday for Kohaibi. Maybe. I mean, this is something that's common for her, right? And even as that initiator, sometimes people would say that if you change your role, then your performance actually degrades. But that's not the case for Kohaibi at all.
Just gets better and better. And that is why, even in this round, even with nothing but pistols and sheriffs, I'm still a little bit scared. Thankfully, Piety's here to stop them for the time being. Exekeys as well as she sprays them down. It's one headshot, but that's the best that you can hope for. Vixky, one left survivor, all inside of a cave alone. She spends a bit of a recon just to find a little something, but way too many players on the other side of that wall. I don't see how she can make out of this one alive. Oh my god.
Dashin, like Capricious.
Oh my god.
She doesn't really get the headshot though, but the rest of the members of ZOL, they want to rush through. They're chasing her. Even though Trailblazer wants to chase her. And Capricious finally gets the kill. Vixky, if she had that headshot angle, even if she was prepared to for Capricious to dash in. Could have been a winnable situation because we know Fixky with all of her utilities, right? She wasn't left with anything, but still in terms of the aim, quite a possibility. But ZOL, they're still alive and kicking, even though it's match point for SMG. Now they want to go to B. This might be something different that we were seeing from SMG.
Might be, but oh my gosh. Capricious honestly scares me. Look at what she's doing right now. In towards elbow she goes, but ultimately denied by Yoki. The aggression doesn't pay off, and here it comes. B site, control relinquished. SMG has it in the bag. They got the regrowth as well. Just a top Envious up to about maybe 100 HP, honestly. Once the spike gets planted, a 3v5 retake, how can they possibly win this round? It's match point.
Possibly with a Hunter's Fury, but doesn't really get a frag nor a tag. And Kuhaibi sneaks in, kills Nicole G, and it's down to Mikey. She's still alive, but she's caught up in the Hunter's Fury. The rest of the members of SMG, they peek out. And they take her down. SMG, in such good form and fashion, take both of the maps, Fracture and Breeze.
That was a little bit fun to watch just because you're speed hopping and avoiding the Hunter's Fury beams, but my goodness, 13-8. When it comes down to it, SMG with the round lead that they had, with the aggression that they were able to put forth and also deny in the form of Capricious, right? They're able to secure these rounds with relative ease, and that is why they are here to play. 13-8, it's 2-0. It's a very, very amazing performance put on display by SMG, but also, I mean, Zomaraki are pretty darn impressive as well.
That's true, and I think they just maybe found their match. Zomaraki, they were very dominant in open 1, but I guess Kohaibi was just really that force that they needed to take down. Look at that force, 3.8 in terms of her KDA, and her combat score is off of the roof, 343 for her, and getting that 30. I mean, that's just really a whole number, a 30 a 30 bomb for Kohaibi, but for the rest of the members as well, very healthy KDA for K for Daddy. I do want to give credits to Capricious as well. She did hold down her ground together with Miha, her initiator, but it wasn't just enough, especially when it came down to their attacks. SMG, they pulled out a lot of those rounds to take down ZOL's attacks. And I guess there was just that one round that was questionable, right? I think that was the 11th round wherein SMG just really wanted to risk going through holes and leaving A unmanned, unwomaned, basically. And that was supposed to be a 9-3, but an 8-4 still works in favor of SMG because they got the win.
There are some of these rounds, that we start to see SMG really getting caught by surprise because Zomaraki, they tend to pull off some interesting plays at times. I mean, they basically saved themselves from losing this map by force buying in that one point in time, which was honestly, it worked out. It worked out. And that's why I think Zomaraki, they have potential. Honestly, again, though, you said it earlier on, it's the attacking side. If they had won a little bit more in their attacking half, Zomaraki could have stood a better chance at closing out this Breeze map. But unfortunately, they lose it, so it's a 2-0. They won't be eliminated from the tournament, not yet. But they're going to have to go with a lower bracket run from here on out.
Yeah, they still have a chance, but we'll see that in the next few days. What's coming up would be an exciting match between the team of Orangutan and the Queen's alter ego Celeste. That's going to be right at you after we go into this break.